to the second part of the webinar series, Doing Business with Purpose. And I hope that you are ready and excited. I was preparing the whole week for this session. I'm looking forward to it. And I've got some great content that I'm sure will help you guys in the next step. And today we're actually looking at business culture. So that is quite cool. I'm looking forward to this session. I received some good feedback during the week as well, which is great. So guys, please keep the feedback going. It encourages me and it shows me that where there's actually value in the market that can be addressed and that can be taken further in South Africa to further the economy, to transform the economy, to make businesses more applicable for people and actually just move the whole industry of business forward in South Africa and to transform, because we can't get stuck on this. We are now at a certain stage, and we also can't get stuck on the pathways. We need to move forward and take South Africa forward as a whole in terms of business. All right, for those who didn't attend last week, there's a bio about me and where I come from, who I am, what I'm doing. The most important part here probably is the credentials, which is I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur by heart. That should actually be the number one thing there at credentials. I'm an entrepreneur, and the entrepreneurship that I believe in is different to what we see on social media and what we sometimes believe entrepreneurship is in the world. I do entrepreneurship consultation as well. I do business plans, and I'm a motivational speaker. So that is a bit about me. If you're interested to read the full story, you can go to my website, dreamstartergroup.co.za, or you can ask for the slides afterwards to read that short bio about myself. And the most exciting project I'm currently working on is the Entrepreneurship Program, which is one of the brands that I'm running is Entrepreneurship School. And the next course kicks off on the 30th of April. Now, what this Entrepreneurship Program is doing is it's doing effectively two things. And the first thing is it helps people to discover the entrepreneur in themselves. So many people don't realize and they don't know that they actually have an entrepreneur on the inside. It just needs to be awakened, and they need to discover it through following the right process. So that's the first thing that this program answers, or actually develops in people, is helping them to discover the entrepreneur inside of them. And the second thing is it answers the question, how do I start a business in South Africa? So it takes all the crucial steps, everything from your business planning phase, writing a business plan that's actually practical and that it will actually help people, as well as the business preparation phase, where I'm going specifically into compliance consultation, tenders and funding consultation, as well as how do you build a brand for your business. And then I finish off with systems prototypes. So what type of systems is applicable for your business, as well as how can you set up proper systems for your business to actually move your business forward and get it going from the right foundation at the start. So that is the Entrepreneurship Program that's brought to you by Entrepreneurship School. For more information regarding that, you can visit the website at entrepreneurshipschool.co.za. Okay. And I'm also in the process of creating some exciting software to give people assistance when they start their business. But that is for the future to be done yet. Okay, so as I said, today we're doing business culture. How do you create a proper, solid business culture and not just state that you're an ethical business owner and you have integrity and all that boring principles that we always say we do, but when the push comes to shove, do we really do it? And sometimes we slip up and so on. So today we're going to look at creating a business culture and what are proper values and laws for businesses to live by in order to reach success at the end of the goal. Okay, and as I said last week, I'm going to do a quick 2 or 3 minute recap on last week. If your dreams don't scare you, they're obviously not big enough. So you have to dream big dreams. You're never too old to dream a dream. You're never too young to dream a dream. Your life is never over that you can't dream. If you've got breath in your lungs, you are able to dream, and you are able to dream big. Nothing is stopping you from dreaming bigger than the average. Okay, so I want to encourage everyone watching here. It's possible for you. That dream that you have, that dream that you've been thinking about for a while, it's possible to awaken that dream and actually pursuing it and achieving the dream. It is possible. Okay, so the first section we talked about last week was entrepreneurship and the foundation of entrepreneurship. So an entrepreneur is a dreamer, a visionary, someone that spots a problem and believes that there are solutions to the problem. Someone that builds an organization that works, an organization that is fruitful, that produces, that multiplies, and that distributes and dominates the industry. And the three key aspects to the foundation of entrepreneurship is to realize that true entrepreneurship is birthed with a dream. It's a dream that moves humanity forward. It is a dream that is bigger than yourself. It's a dream that is bigger than your business. It's something that moves the human race forward, or creates solutions for the community around you, or creates a solution for the industry. Anything that is bigger than your business is worth pursuing. And there's a difference between impersonal and personal dreams. And the dream that I focused on last week was an impersonal dream. So it's something that's got nothing to do with you. It's to benefit other people. It's to benefit the community or the world that we live in. And lastly, servanthood, crucial for entrepreneurship. Someone like Steve Jobs was obsessively focused on the client and the customer. He wanted the customer to have the best experience possible when he bought an Apple product. And that's servanthood. So if you want to be great, if you want to build a great business, the principle behind this is building a business that serves your client and your customer. Okay, and in that servanthood, there is greatness. Go ask the great Steve Jobs, or the late Steve Jobs, should I rather say. Okay, and then we also touched on leadership. Leadership is the capacity to influence others through inspiration, motivated by passion, generated by vision, produced by conviction, ignited by a purpose. Okay, so that was said by the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and the process behind leadership is that an individual discovers his purpose, and as a result of this discovery, he develops a conviction about what he should be doing with his life, as well as a conviction or foundational beliefs about how he should live his life. Okay, now this conviction encourages him to create a practical, clear vision that will bring the dream or the purpose to life. The vision gives him passion because he now knows what he is going to do and how he is going to make this purpose and this dream a reality. That passion inspires other people around him, and that inspiration influences people, and the influence makes you a leader. If you can influence someone else for the better, you are a leader. Okay, that sequence will certainly assist you to make your leadership attributes stronger without forcing down the respect on other people and trying to make them afraid of you, and all the tactics that we've been using in the past of what we thought was leadership. Okay, create a dream, create a vision, and then be passionate about that. And that will inspire the people, influence the people, and you will be a leader. And then lastly, the three keys that set Steve Jobs apart from all the other entrepreneurs was, first of all, creativity and innovation. He was a very creative man. He was a curious man. He believed anything was possible, and he would challenge his staff to think outside the box, to think differently. Okay, so that was the theme of Apple, or the value of Apple, is to think differently, which is the second key as well. And he would literally fire someone if the person wasn't, or the person didn't want to think differently. He would literally fire that person. With the first Mac that they built, Steve Jobs wanted to create a mouse that could move on the wheel that we had in the mouse design many years ago, before the infrared light came into the mouses. But before that, the mouse actually moved on two wheels. And Steve Jobs wanted to change that into a moving ball. And the guy that was supposed to design the mouse said to him, it's not possible to create a mouse with a ball. And Steve Jobs said, thank you very much. You can go find another work or another place to go work. And he fired him on the spot, and he hired someone else and asked him, is it possible to create a mouse with a wheel? The guy said yes. And just after that, they had a mouse with a wheel. Okay, so think differently, think creatively, and use innovation to be different than the competition. Steve Jobs also said, never compare yourself with the competition and think, how can I do things better or cheaper? But rather look at the competition and think to yourself, how can I do things differently? What can I do otherwise than the competition? Okay, if you can get that answer in that uniqueness of who you are as an entrepreneur, then you exit the rat race and you enter a total new field where you don't have really competition because you're the only one doing the service or the product in this different way. Okay, and lastly, be one step ahead. Steve Jobs said, don't skate. Okay, so he used an analogy in the ice hockey field where he said, don't skate towards the puck, but rather skate towards where the puck will be in a few moves ahead. So he was always thinking to where the industry was heading in a few years. He would line himself and Apple in that direction, and when they eventually reached the direction, they would be 20 steps ahead of the competition, and then the competition is playing catch up for the rest of their lives because this guy thinks a few steps ahead of the industry. So think a few steps ahead of the industry instead of thinking where the industry is now. Okay, so those are a few challenges for you to build your business and the foundation of your business on. Today we're touching on business culture, which is very exciting. So first of all, we're going to look at a foundation of culture. Secondly, we're going to take a look at 5 key business laws and 6 key principles to execute these laws. So all of my content is very practical, and you should be able to apply this immediately in your business with your staff. Okay, so are you guys ready? Let's get started. First of all, culture. I'm going to teach you guys some Latin today. Very interesting how words have their origin from certain words in the Latin and from the past. So first of all, culture is from the Latin word which means culere, meaning to tend and cultivate. Okay, so that's very interesting. So culture basically comes down to the ideas, the customs, the values, and social behavior of a particular people, society, or organization. And if you want to use a few synonyms for culture, you've got civilization, society, a way of life, or a lifestyle. Now, if we can implement this in your business, what is the lifestyle in the business? What is the way of life in the business? What is your employee society like? Okay, that's the culture of the business. And then also culture determines the ethical values and behavior of yourself as the leader, your organization, and the employees. Okay, so this is what culture represents. Culture is the way that you do things in your business. It's the way that it's like a channel that if you put something in the channel, there's a consistent result on the other side of the channel. That's culture. So if we take a baby that's born in America, you put him in an American culture, that baby is going to come out an American because he was put in the culture, which is like a channel that develops. So a culture creates a consistent, sustainable result. If you can create such a strong culture with the values that you believe in, your employees will automatically in time develop into that value and in that culture, and it is a consistent, sustainable result. Okay, and we'll get to that. I actually jumped a bit ahead of my presentation now. Now, in general, we have ethical culture and we have modern culture. Okay, so people are becoming more lenient in life and they are compromising more and more and more, and they're not sticking to the values that they believe to be true. Okay, now compromise is a sickness. It's something that you should not do. If you believe in something and that principle is true, and it's a part of who you are, you should not compromise. You should stick towards your values and who you are and what you believe in. And if you are a business owner, I write many business plans, many business plans, and on one of the questionnaires, there's a section where they need to complete their values. And everybody writes their ethical values, they write their integrity, respect, honor, trustworthiness, transparency, all these beautiful words. But when I look at the business economy, and if I look at the business climate in South Africa, it's full of corruption, and it's full of lies, and it's full of deceit, and it's full of myth. Now I'm wondering to myself, where all these beautiful words on the business plans doesn't mean anything. Because when you look at the climate of the business world, there's no ethical culture at all. It's corruption, and it's a sickness, and it's like a disease, and somewhere that needs to turn around. So why not with your business? Why don't you start with your business and turn things around? Say no to the bribe, or when someone says, listen, yeah, we can do business, but we have to compromise on these values, then it's no. The answer is no, because you're going against your cultural value, which determines who you are. So don't compromise on that, but stand firm on who you are. And if you don't get the contract, that's fine. There will be another contract coming your way, but no shortcuts, no compromise. Why don't you be the change? Don't wait for someone else to be the change. Don't wait for government to be the change. Don't wait for great leadership to change. Take a look at yourself and you be the change. You stop this flow of corruption and nonsense in this climate in South Africa. Okay, just a bit of a motivation there. It's possible that you can start to change things. All right, now the question is, how do you create a culture? How do you create a culture? Culture starts with leadership, or it starts with the loudest employee. Very important. The leader is either going to step up and say, this is the culture of the business, and everything flows from the head down into the body, or the leader is a weak leader and people don't respect him because he's got no vision, he's got no purpose, he's got no backbone. And who's going to take over the culture? The employee with the strongest personality will take over the culture, guaranteed. And then that culture will be moving in his direction that he wants the business to go in. And sometimes these strong people, they just have a way to just force themselves on you. And we need to stand against that. Okay, just stand for who you are. Stand for your values. I'm going to use an example here. The one day I was at a squash club after a game, and the guy automatically opens up a bottle of beer after the game, and I never asked for beer. So I went to the counter and I wanted to order an Energade. And the guy said, well, too bad, he's got a beer open for me now. I said, listen, I don't want a beer, I want an Energade. And he looked at me and he's like, yeah, well, the beer's now open, so what are you going to do about it? And I said, can I get an Energade, please? I'm not going to take the beer, thank you. And the guy was disgusted, and he was like, yeah, whatever. And he searched around, he gets out a bottle of frozen Energade just to spite me. And I said, thank you very much, and I walked away. But refusing to compromise on what I want or what I believe, and this guy trying to enforce his strong personality on me, because that's now the way they do things at the club, but that's not the way I do things at the club. I live differently. I live according to my values and my standards, and I'm not going to compromise on that. So that is an example of someone with a strong personality trying to enforce his standards and his values on you or in the business, and you need to stand strong against that as the leader. Okay, step one to create a culture. First of all, you have to see the culture that you want your business to live in. You have to see the culture that you want to have manifest in your business. What do you want for your business as a culture? Very important. If you can't see what you want as a culture, if you can't envision the culture, if you can't pinpoint the culture, you can't create it. It's impossible. You first see the culture, you see the end result, you see the vision that you want in your business, in the culture, and then you can actually continue and create the culture. Okay, a few questions that you can ask yourself is, what culture do you want in your organization? Very easy. Go write it down. What do you want in your organization? I want innovation. I want creativity. I want people to work with freedom, not with fear. I want a good team spirit in the culture. I want excellence in the culture. I don't want people looking at the clock 8 to 5. When the clock strikes 5, they close their laptop and they're out of the door. I don't want that in my business. Okay, so you create that and you write down what you want in the culture of the business. Okay, and you write it down. Don't think of it, because if you don't write it, you don't own it. It's just a thought in your mind. If you write it down, then it's something on paper. It's something concrete. It's something tangible that you can work with. Once it's written down, then you own it. Okay, and decide, this is the culture. So you envision the culture, you write the culture down on paper, that's now it. Now you make a decision that this is what you see in the culture. This is how the culture will be, and you don't compromise. And that word decision comes from the Latin word meaning to cut off. Okay, very interesting. That word decision means to cut off any other alternative solution or anything alternative to the decision. It cuts off. So it's like you burn your bridges. So there's a certain bad apples in the company and they're creating a bad culture, and now you want to create a new culture in the business. So you see the culture, you envision it, you write it down, and now you decide. So you cut off any other alternative. If that bunch of bad apples goes alternatively against the culture, then you know I have to cut this off on the right way, on a professional way, and on an integrity way, not nasty or just cut them off. Just do it properly, but cut the bad apples or cut that culture, because you've made a decision to not compromise. Okay, so that's how you decide, and that's the importance of decision. Sometimes we can vacillate between decisions. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Just make a decision and go. Okay, just decide. Otherwise, if there's no decision being made, you will be neutral for the rest of your life. Okay, step 2, your words. Continually speak the culture, the vision, the values, and the principles in your organization. Continue to speak this to your employees. You need to continue to speak this over and over and over. And they actually did studies, and they realized that employees only start to hear and understand after something's been said over 7 times. Okay, so over 7 times, something needs to be said for an employee to start realizing, oh, this is what it means. Oh, this is what it's saying. And then gradually, as you repeat yourself over and over and over, eventually people start to get what you're saying, and they start to live out this culture vision that you've created, the values that's in the business, the principles that's set in stone. Okay, but it all starts from the head down. Okay, that's the importance of words. And again, I'm going to use an example on the squash team. I play squash league, and on the team, I always tell the guys, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you know me personally, you will hear those words a lot. So if you get irritated by them, that's a problem for you. But anyways, and the other day I was playing against this guy in the team, and he looked at me after the game and we had a chat about something, and he said, yeah, and I just told the team, you know what you always say, anything's possible. And he was speaking to his team in the in a retail outlet, in a retail store. He was speaking to his team, and he told me that I just told them what you tell me, anything's possible. And then they say, yeah, but I said, listen, anything is possible. Okay, so whatever you say over and over and over, people eventually catch on. After a month, 2, 3, 4 months, You don't know how long it's going to take. Okay, but that is the power of words. And then step 3, take action. Apply the culture with no compromise. You hire according to the culture and not the skill. Okay, very important. And I'm going to use a great example down in my presentation. But once you've set out that culture, you don't want to compromise on that. So you want to hire employees who fit into the culture. You don't want to hire an employee that has great skills, but once he's in your business, he's a bad apple. Because that's a problem. Anybody who's been in business for a while knows that the biggest issues in a business is the staff and the employees. And I've seen that many times over and over and over, where you get difficult employees and everything becomes sour in a business or in a company. And that can be a problem. Okay, so you want to hire people who fit into the culture of the business. And if they fit into the culture of the business, then you can teach them the skill as they go along. Okay, very important, very important. And sometimes if the person doesn't necessarily fit into the culture of the business, but he's got a good attitude, then you've got something to work with. I'll hire anybody, any day with a good attitude above someone that is skillful. Any day. I'll rather take someone with an attitude that's willing to work, a good attitude, willing to work, and I can train him into the culture of the business over someone that's skillful, but that will be a bad apple eventually after 2 or 3 months. You don't want to sit with that. Okay, guys, the 3 steps to create a culture is step 1, you have to visualize the culture. Step 2, you have to speak. And step 3, take action. Okay, create a vision, words, action. Those are the 3 steps to create a culture. And the result of culture is beautiful if it's the right result that you're after, if it's the right culture that you're building. Okay, so first of all, a culture has the ability to empower employees. Okay, when someone gets into this culture, what's going to pop out on the other side? That's the question. Now, if it's a good culture, the culture and the values will protect the vision and the dream of the company. Okay, so it's a protective culture that you're building. That person gets into the culture, he's protected by the culture, and he's now empowered because he's free. And there's very few things in life that empowers you as much as freedom. Okay, someone that's free will go way the extra mile than someone who feels like he's caught up and he can't really do anything. Okay, so that culture empowers people. Secondly, that culture creates an expected, consistent, sustainable result. A culture creates an expected, consistent, sustainable result. You can go to any McDonald's or any Steers in South Africa and you're going to get exactly the same burger as at the other chain store. Exactly the same burger. Because that culture of that franchise is the same everywhere. So that culture and the system as well, but the culture creates an expected, consistent, sustainable result. If you can create a culture in your business that is so strong and that is so ethically driven, you will create expected, consistent, sustainable results in your employees and in the business. Okay, so that's a beautiful principle there. And lastly, culture aligns. So it brings employees into alignment with the business purpose. Okay, you want your employees to come into alignment and to stand united for one cause. You don't want the employees, one is doing this, the other one is doing that, and that one is doing that. You want people that aims for the same thing. And that culture brings them into alignment and into a team. So I've got some video homework for you guys. This is a TED Talk on someone that spoke about culture and how he developed his business culture. It's a great TED Talk. I've watched this video. So go watch this. It's about 20 minutes. But I'm sure you can take many hints and principles from the guy that's speaking at this TED Talk. So go watch that video out. If you want the link afterwards, just pop me an email. I'm going to quickly type my email address here. Just pop me an email and I can send you that link manually. Is that correct? Cool. So there's my email address. All right. And the example I'm going to use here is the All Blacks. So everybody knows the All Blacks is one of the best sporting teams for the last couple of years. And there's a very interesting story behind their success, which I will quickly chat about, but not into depth. So there's a few videos that you can watch about the All Black culture. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's principles that you can copy-paste into your business, and you can see the results after a while. So apparently what happened, or not apparently, what happened was after the year 2008, the Springboks dominated the All Blacks in the Tri-Nations, and the All Blacks obviously had a problem. So they had a problem that they sat with, and the captain, Richie McCaw, one or two or three of the senior players like Kieran Reid, and the coach, and I think it was one of the other coaches as well, one of the sub-coaches. They sat in a room around a table and they said, guys, we've got a problem. We've got an issue. The culture of the team is bad. We're losing our games against the Springboks, which for South Africa and New Zealand, obviously in the rugby terms, it's a huge thing. So they got dominated by the Springboks and they realized that there's a problem. So first of all, realistically look at the business, look at the culture and identify the problem. Don't fool yourself and think everything is going well. I can just continue as is. Be honest and take responsibility and accountability for your business. And if you're an employee, you take responsibility for what you need to do. Okay, so this is what the All Blacks did. They took responsibility and they made a decision that they're going to create a team culture in the All Blacks. So they created a team culture, and they said, and they wrote down certain principles and values that they want in their business or in the team to be manifested. Okay, so they wanted these principles and values to be manifested in the team, and they wrote them down. And they decided they're not going to choose talented players if they didn't fit into the culture. And they actually got the spot on, so that they decided to pick people for the team who were fitting into the culture. And eventually the All Black culture became so strong, and the culture and the values and the principles that they wrote down became so strong that they could afford to start choosing or selecting people with skill, because the culture was so strong. Whoever came into the team, they didn't have an option other than to submit to the culture, which is a good culture. So that's a good thing. Okay, so they didn't hire or they didn't select players who were skillful if they didn't fit into the culture. They created a strong culture. After the culture was so strong, they started choosing the skillful people and they submitted into the culture. And after the 2008 year and the rugby season, when they applied this, well, obviously the results are evident. They are the world champions for 2 times running. Nobody is able almost to beat this team because they are creating a solid culture, or they created a solid culture and they stand for the values in this culture. It's a great story. It's massively inspirational, and it is a copy-paste principle that you can apply in your business to be an unstoppable force in your industry. All right, go watch out those 2 videos, and also if you can take a look at a few of the other documentaries on the All Black culture. I think you will invest quite a bit in understanding this culture for your business or for your organization. All right, now we're going to get into a few laws and principles that is vital to a business culture, a healthy, ethical business culture. And this is something that I believe is lacking in South Africa. You hear about far too many businesses and companies that committed fraud and where shareholders lost their money. There's far too much of that in the South African economic climate. We need to change this thing around, and it starts with us. It doesn't start with anyone else. We're not going to look on the outside and say, yeah, but they should start doing it. Let's start with ourselves. Let's start on the inside and change this economical climate in South Africa. Okay, the 5 laws is, first of all, law 1 is dreams and visions. Law number 2 is words. Law number 3, authority. Law 4 is unity. And law 5 is the principle of seed time and harvest. It's actually a law. I did touch on dreams and visions last week, so I'm not going to go into that again this week. If you are interested, if you didn't attend last week, just ask for the playback link, send an email to the ICB, ask for a playback link or the notes, and you will get all what I've said on dreams and visions. I'm not going to go into this again. Okay, now Steve Jobs was known as the dreamer, and here's a great video on YouTube that you can go and watch. And the video title is How a Dreamer Changed the World. Interesting. Steve Jobs was a dreamer and he had a vision. A dreamer is an impersonal dream to move humanity forward, and the vision is a practical channel that brings and manifests the dream and makes it come alive. Okay, so go watch that video. This guy was a dreamer, and so should we be dreamers as well, to take humanity forward. Okay, the second law is the power of words. Okay, the power of words. Life and death is in the power of your words. That was said by the wise King Solomon of Israel. Words have power to bring life. It has power to love. It has power to bring hope, or it can destroy and break down. Words have the power to create and bring things into being. Words changes the atmosphere and can change attitudes. Very important. And there was an experiment that I did, or not, I didn't do it personally, but I watched it on YouTube, where the one guy took rice, freshly cooked rice, and he took a spoonful, and he placed a spoonful in one glass bottle and a spoonful in another glass bottle. And on the one, he pasted a label love, and on the other one, he pasted the label hate. Okay, so those are 2 different words. Guys, this is legit. Go watch it out. And there's other people that did this as well. It's not just this oak. And every day he went to these 2 bottles. He took his camera for evidence, and he spoke into the first one, love, and he said, I love you. And he spoke nice words, beautiful, nice words over this bottle. And the other bottle, he said, you stupid rice. I hate you, idiotic rice. And he cursed the other rice. And you wouldn't believe it, but after a few days, the one with the hate sticker on started to mold on the inside, where the one with the love sticker on was still the same. And so it just worsened every day. And eventually, after 13 days, the love rice was still white. It still looked fresh to eat. And the hate rice was black with mold, and it was just, it was rotten. Okay, the power of words. Go watch that experiment. Okay, now personally, how do you address your employees, or how do you address your superiors? What is the words that you use, and how do you say what you want to say? Very important. If I walk to anyone in this office and I tell them, you are an absolute idiot, what have you done here? I'm guaranteed that person's going to feel bad about that word. So whatever you say it nicely and try to be positive. I remember the one time one of my employees was typing an email, and she asked me to assist her with the wording of the email. So we went through the email, and I said, write this, and she wrote what she wanted to read. She typed down what she wanted to say in the email, and boom, she hit the send button, and it was wrong. And I stood there, and I became hot on the inside. And I was very upset, because this was like a slap in my face, like a total disobedient sending the email without it being correct. And she thought it was funny. And I kept quiet, and I stood up, and I contained myself, and I walked out of the office, because I knew if I would have opened my mouth at that stage, it would not have been pretty. And it would have been, it would probably have hurt her, which is not a good thing. So I walked out of the office. And I came back about 10 minutes later. I went on with my work. And at the end of the day, when she packed up her laptop and she wanted to go home, I said, just wait before you go. Let's talk about what happened today. And I addressed it in a proper way. And I told her why it was a problem, that what she did was wrong. So I explained to her why what she did was wrong, and she felt really bad. I could see in her face that she knew she disappointed me, the leader of that team, and she felt bad about that, and that never happened again. But on the contrary, I could have reacted right away, which would have been nasty, and it would have been led to a fight, and it would have been bad. The other thing that I want to say about the example of words is, the other day I was having a coffee with someone that I'm mentoring, and the guy asked me, how do you get over trials and tribulations? And I told him, only one thing came to mind, and I said, I'll never speak a negative word. I can go through the pits of hell, I can go through challenges, I can go through setbacks, failures, but you'll never, ever, ever hear me speak a negative word, because I know if I speak that negative word, then I know I'm declaring a finalization over the matter. So I'm finalizing the matter. If I speak that word, I'm declaring that this is the end. If I'm in the middle of a squash game and I'm 2-0 down, if I speak, oh, I've lost the game, there's no hope for me to come back, I've declared it and I've made that final. And I might as well pack up and go home, because I'm not going to win that game. So never speak a negative word. All right. Practical principles that I want to leave with you guys here is, speak the end result. Always speak the purpose. Always speak the vision. Always speak the culture continually to your employees. When you're in a meeting, no matter if you've said that 20 times in 20 meetings before, you always get the focus back on the purpose, the vision, and the culture. Okay, always speak the purpose, the vision, and the culture. The tone of what you say is very important. People can pick up on the tone and realize if you're serious or not, if you're lying, if you're deceiving them, or if you are actually honest and sincere. And lastly, if you don't have anything good to say, keep quiet. Don't say anything. All right. The power of words. And there was a quote from Paul Strachan, and he said, words, handle them carefully, for words have more power than an atom bomb. And my example for that is, I'm not sure if you guys are going to know who said this. I'm not sure if I should tell the name of the person that actually said these two quotes, but this is profound wisdom, but it's in the wrong direction. But if you can understand the principle behind what these two principles or these two things say, then you realize the power of words. And the guy said, if you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, people will eventually believe it. And the second thing he said is, make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it. Now, if we can turn this principle around into a positive light, imagine the result for your business. Okay, imagine the result for your business. If you can turn this around and say, well, if I can speak the dream and the purpose and the culture over and frequently enough, people will believe it, and then the people automatically align, and when they align, the sky's the limit for your business. I'm guaranteed that the sky will be the limit for your business. All right, make it quick, efficient, keep on saying it, and they will believe it. All right, and that was said by Adolf Hitler, so now you know. Not the first time that I used him as an example. Not a good man, that. But anyways, let's continue. Okay, law number 3 is authority. Okay, authority. And that goes hand in hand with servanthood. So authority, to walk in authority with substance, respect, and admiration, you must be under authority. To give instructions, you must be willing to take instructions from higher authority. To be a law unto yourself is a very dangerous game to play. If you are a law unto yourself, good luck. And I can promise you that I certainly don't want to be a law to myself, because that will be dangerous and I will be out of control. Okay, I have mentors in my life to whom I respect. I will serve them and I will definitely listen to them, and I'm under their authority. Okay, and I will, at my personal example, I will give you more insight on that. Okay, so the result of authority is humility. First of all, if I'm a law unto myself, I will have no humility because I'm a God to myself. So where's the humility coming in? Okay, secondly, dreams, plans, and purposes succeed under wise counsel. If you can build up a power team of wise people, that's not there only for themselves, but actually wants the best for you. So it's solid, pure mentors, people that you look up to, people that have integrity and values. Under their counsel, there's wisdom. Not if you go with your friend to the bar and you're going through a bad patch and this guy is negative. Now you're sitting and you're spilling out everything that's going wrong in your life, and he gives his opinion about what he thinks is wrong with your life and what you should do. But this guy's life is looking worse than yours. Okay, now my brain can't fathom why you would listen to this guy in the first place. So choose the people that you share your trials and tribulations with very carefully. Get the wise counsel going. Okay, the third thing, growth, perspective, and insight comes with authority. Very important. Now, personally, I want to sorry guys, we just lost connection there. I'm back. So I will continue with that personal example of authority in my life. So personally, is in Johannesburg. Personally, I have a business mentor in Johannesburg, and I'm actually, incidentally, I'm seeing him tomorrow when I'm flying to Joburg. And this guy has really been pivotal in my business journey. I think I've had 6 or 7 coffee meetings with him over a period of 4 years. And his wisdom and his counsel has completely changed my life. It's completely changed my life, and it's awakened things inside of me that I never knew was there. And that's through the counsel of one wise man that is ethical, that has values, and that has a successful business behind him. So every moment that I can spend with this person, I use to my full capacity, and I'll sit there until he tells me he needs to go. So I don't care if I'm a nuisance. I don't care if he's irritated or offended if I sit there all the way, but I'm going to sit until you tell me to go, because I know the moment that I have with you is pivotal and it can change my life. Okay, and this guy incidentally told me, I think it was last year June, in that period, in that time frame, I told him about this dream that I had to create this entrepreneurship program, which I'm launching through Entrepreneurship School, or which I've launched through Entrepreneurship School this year. I've told him about this dream that I have, the concept of the program, and the practicality of helping people to start a business from A to Z, giving them all the info they need. And I think I was busy for 2 minutes. And everybody knows busy people, normally these type of leaders, these type of business people are very direct and straightforward. And he went like this, he stopped me, he said, "Stop. It's a great idea, I love it, start now." And I was like, whoa, that is amazing. That's firstly one of the first compliments I received from him. So it was like, nice, that's a nice compliment. And then secondly, I realized this is a good idea. And nothing should stop me from executing on this idea now. So that wise counsel and that wisdom gave me the confidence to say, I'm going to go full steam ahead with this entrepreneurship school. And that is what I've done. And that is actually a big result, thanks to him for speaking into my life. Okay, so that is an example of wise counsel and wise leadership authority in your life. So I would recommend that every single person has a mentor to whom he submits, and someone who will help him to actually see things that he's not seeing. So mentors bring good perspective to your business. You're looking at the business from this angle, and the mentor is looking from above. So he sees everything, and I'm only seeing like the palm of my hand. Okay, but they see everything. So go to wise counsel and choose your relationships very, very, very carefully. Okay, choose your relationships very carefully. If you're going to hang out with negative people, you are going to be negative. If you're going to hang out with positive people, you are going to be positive. If you hire negative people in the business, you're going to have a negative culture. Don't be surprised when the culture is negative. But if you hire people with a good attitude, you're going to have some good positive energy flowing in your business. Very important. And the law of authority, I'm going to give you guys a bit of a challenge. Go out and bless someone with a meal. Not that you buy, something that you make, that you prepare. Go bless your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Go bless them with a meal. Okay, it feels good to give. It feels good to serve. Because authority comes down to servanthood. And some of the best examples is Bill Gates, who now owns, he's still like the richest or the second richest man in the world, but he's a philanthropist. Imagine that, a philanthropist is the second richest person in the world, because this guy is serving humanity. So he's a great leader because he serves. And Roger Federer, one of my all-time sport heroes, he has millions and millions and millions of euros in his bank account. But this guy actually goes to Tanzania and Africa countries, and he builds educational systems for those children. He sits with the children on the dirty floor and he plays with them. Okay, that is servanthood, and that gives me goosebumps. The fourth law is unity. Okay, unity is from the Latin word unos, meaning one. Unity in an organization is a state of mind where a team or organization has the same focus, the same goal, and the team works together to achieve a common result. Okay, and the example there, very practical. All the water in the ocean together creates a huge, massive force. But if all the drops were alone, separated, it would have no power at all. The result of unity is a driven team focused on the end result. And there's a video that you guys can go watch out about unity. This is a very cool video of a person that got his leg stuck in between the train like the train where you put your foot, and the platform of where the passengers stand and wait for the train. And he got his leg in between, and it was stuck. And they stopped the train, so the system went out, and this was in Australia. So they stopped the system, the train stood still, and eventually they couldn't get the guy out, and like many people were pushing with their hands against the train in unity. They pushed the train off the tracks, and the train lifted, and the guy could take out his leg. And that's the power of unity. But if one person tried to push the train, the guy's leg would still be stuck today. Alright, so the process of unity, there's a process to unity. It doesn't just happen. Unity doesn't just happen. First of all, it starts with a leader of the business. You need a clear business purpose and a vision. You need something that an employee is willing to give his life for. The worst thing we can do is hire someone to come work for our business and there's no purpose or vision. This employee is going to be like, well, what am I doing here? Nothing really significant. So if I wait for 4 o'clock, close the laptop and go home, nobody's going to care because I'm anyways doing nothing. But if your business has a purpose, something that you are serving that's larger than yourself, larger than the boss's bank balance, then an employee is going to buy into that dream or that vision. They're going to believe that the work they are doing is significant to people on the outside, not only the company, but to people on the outside. And that significance prompts an employee to actually take action and say, well, I want part of this dream, I want part of this vision, I'm going to work in unity with my team members because we are doing something significant other than making the boss and the shareholders rich. So think about that. The start of unity is purpose and vision. Okay, employees must buy into the purpose and the vision. And then lastly, guidelines to achieve the purpose and the vision is in the business culture. So the culture creates, again, that channel that protects the vision and the purpose of the business. And in that culture, there is guidelines to how we're going to achieve the purpose and the vision. Okay, so create those guidelines that an employee needs to walk by that will give him the end result. And I wanted to mention this specifically with a unity. If Martin Luther King had a dream that changed legislation in America, imagine what would happen if a team together has a dream to do something. If one man's dream was so powerful to change legislation in the world, in America, imagine what is possible for a team who's got a dream. Much more. Let me rather just say much more. You can go think about the practicality of that idea. And the last business law is seed time and harvest. What goes around comes around, and what goes up must come down. These are laws, specifically the one that says whatever goes up must come down. It's a law. It's a law. You can't get past that. Gravity is a law. If I don't believe in the law of gravity, but I go stand on the roof and jump off, I'm going to learn about the law of gravity. So is seed time and harvest. Whatever you sow, you will reap. Very specifically, I'm going to give you some great examples here. Let me rather not jump ahead. Okay, so personal examples of seed time and harvest that I can give you guys is with employees. The time, the words, and the growth is determined by the leader and the seed that's placed into the employee. All right, I had a girl that didn't have matric, but I hired her because she had a great attitude. And then from there on, I started to invest into her education, where I said, great, you're doing some good work for me. I want to bless you. So come with because you don't have matric, so come with a suggestion of where you can get a matric for a good price and good quality, and how will the work or how will the learning process be? Will it be, can you do that part-time? Can you do that online? Where and how and so on. And eventually she came with a suggestion and I paid for half of that. Okay, that is an example of sowing positive seeds, sowing an opportunity into my employee. And then secondly, personal, I've seen this law work many times with friendships, with coffees, with time, and so on. A practical example is at one stage I decided to test this law of seed time and harvest, and I started to pay for every single person that I saw. I started to pay for their coffees at the restaurants. So I would have a coffee with a person. I would say, no, don't worry, I'll get the bill, thank you, and I'll pay the coffee, and I'll pay the coffee for I think 2 or 3 months. I literally paid for all the coffees that I had with people and friends. And eventually that whole thing turned around, and I think it was like 3 or 4 months after that, I didn't pay for one coffee. And it was the craziest thing, because I would grab the bill because I'm in this mindset of sowing seed. So I would want to take the bill, and the person would grab the bill and say, no, this one is on me. And he's like, no debate. I'm like, whoa, okay, just chill out. Fine, you can cover the coffee. And that happened for like much more times than I sowed the seed. So I received much more harvest than I sowed seed. All right, that's a practical example. If you don't believe me, go test this out. Test this principle out. It's a beautiful principle. And I have to wrap up now because it's 3 o'clock. So basically, practical examples of seed time and harvest can be generosity towards your staff. I also brought in, when I was at another business, I had a team that I coordinated. And every Friday, I would buy pizzas for the team out of the profit that my team made. So it was touching my pocket, which is fine because it must cost you something. Your seed must cost you something, otherwise it's not worthy to be called, or actually to think you're going to get a harvest. If I want a harvest of new clothes, I need to sew new clothes. If I sew all my old clothes with holes in and broken shoes, how can I expect to receive new clothes in return? It doesn't work that way. So anyway, so I would buy pizzas for the team, and we would take that half an hour that we took lunch, and I gathered the guys around, and we had a great chat. So we laughed and we joked around. I was building friendship with these people, and we were having pizza. And I promise you, after that, authentically, obviously I'm sincere in that moment, because I really love people. I love people, and I love to get involved with people. But those guys would break their backs for me, because I invest in them and I participate in their life, and I'm willing to be a friend for them, not just someone that says do this, do this, do this. And they would break their backs for me, and that is beautiful. Okay, so also time. What are you and your employees investing your time in? Very important. Growth. Are you investing into your employees' growth? How can you expect your employee to become better, more skilled, but you're not investing in his education or his growth? And lastly, what words are you planting in your employees' heart and mind? Because those words, I promise you, are seeds that will grow, either good or bad, your choice. And just think of this very practical. If a farmer plants lemon seeds, he can't expect an apple tree to grow. It's impossible. A farmer that wants an apple tree plants an apple tree. A farmer that wants millies plants millies. Okay, he doesn't plant other stuff. Alright, so very important law, that seed time and harvest. What seeds are you sowing? And then lastly, 6 key business principles to achieve the laws is, first of all, the principle of leadership. Your leadership reflection. What do you want your leadership to be reflected as? Secondly, accountability. You must be accountable for your actions. You must be responsible for your actions. And then after you are responsible and after you are accountable, your employees will start to take ownership for their mistakes. But if you don't take ownership for your mistakes, how can you expect them to take ownership for their mistakes? It's irrational. Principle number 3, quality. Sell a quality product at a fair price. Okay, don't cheat people. Don't sell crap and expect to get paid a lot of money for the crap service or the crap product that you sell. Get a good quality product or service in place. Make sure it's the best that it can be, and then sell it at a fair price. Because that quality of product and service will be attracted according to, or the money will be attracted to the value of that product or that service. Okay, honor your creditors. Don't withhold the money because you are stingy or you want to cheat the guy or whatever. If you owe someone, pay him. As easy as that. Don't hope it disappears. Don't wait for the invoice that you know will come after 3 months. Pay the money. If you owe someone, pay it up. Principle 5, treat people fairly. This goes from employees to customers, to shareholders, to partners, to everyone. And lastly, keep your vows. Okay, keep your vows. Don't lie and deceive. Keep your vows. If you say something, stick to your word. If you're an owner and a boss and a leader, and if you say something and you don't stick to that, don't think the employees forget about what you said in the previous meeting. They never forget. And they go and they think to themselves, well, this guy said this and he did that. Now, why should I be honest about my actions at the company if the boss isn't even honest about what he's doing? Okay, so be the leader that people want to look up to. Put yourself in their position. If you would be someone that needs to follow yourself, would you do that? Would you follow yourself if you were the leader or the employee of the company? Ask yourself that question. If not, make a change. Take action. Don't procrastinate. Okay, so guys, let's do business with purpose. Let's be intentional. Let's be focused. Let's go for the dreams that we have in the right ethical manner, creating a good, solid culture. Okay, and let's change the corruption and the crap that's going on in the economy of South Africa, and let's participate and make this place a better business environment for everyone in South Africa. There's enough money for everyone. Okay, I enjoyed this session. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I will hang around for about 5 minutes or so. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And also my email address again. Guys, please send me an email if you want these notes and other stuff as well. And if you want to find out more about my business, I'm going to give you the website to Entrepreneurship School. That is my main project at this stage. I'm very excited about this. And yeah, so tell me what you think. All right. Also, give me feedback on the session. I would love to hear your thoughts and also how you applied this and what was the result at the end of the day. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week with our third presentation. Let me just give you guys an idea of what's lying ahead. The reason why 80% small businesses fail. We're going to take a look at that. So have a great day. Go break that industry and be the best you can be. Cool.